What's going on YouTube? So the Subaru Forester remains one of the top compact SUVs, and 2026 brings some exciting changes, of which include a new trim level that we have today, price reductions, and more features. So how does it stack up against the rivals now? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Like always, let's quickly get things started with a spec dump. So under the hood of the Forester, you have two different powertrain options. We have the 2.5 liter boxer 4-cylinder engine making 180 horsepower. It's paired to a continuously variable transmission with symmetrical all-wheel drive, and our combined fuel economy is 28 mpg.
Now, the base price on most of the trim levels have been reduced this year, and it starts at around $30,000. And if you're looking to buy one or any vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we're going to take it out for a spin to show you the performance, but first we need to start by looking at the new exterior for this Onyx edition, as well as the inside.
Now, Mason already previewed this a little bit, but we've got the new trim for 2026. It's called the Sport Onyx Edition, and basically what this is going to do is kind of revise that sport formula to include a lot more gloss black elements. So normally if we had the sport trim level, you would have some of those copper accents up here in the front, for instance. That's all going to be gloss black with this. I think it makes it a little bit less controversial overall. Now, of course, you got that signature Forester grille up here in the front. Full gloss black finish like I was mentioning, and that bleeds right into the headlights, which are very premium on the Forester because every single model comes with a standard projector LED headlight with adaptive abilities, as well as your daytime running light. Furthermore, down here in the center section, all but the base model will have LED fog lamps. You have standard 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which is one of the best in the segment, and the also new Wilderness trim for 2026 can bring that up to 9.3 inches. We have a dedicated review on the channel if you want to check that out. And walking around to the back, it continues with that signature Forester proportion.
Yeah, and the Onyx Edition just kind of spices things up a little bit back here with a couple black elements, including all of your logos. And let's take a look at our taillights, because that's one of my favorite elements about the Forester, is that you get pretty premium taillights across the board. So you have LED brake light, LED reverse light. I wish they would have went ahead and made the turn signal LED as well. And as far as other features, you have a spoiler, you have a rear window wiper, and then down here at the bottom, all of this is going to be finished in a kind of blacked out design. You also have an exposed exhaust outlet on the right side. 1,500 pounds is your tow capacity for the vast majority of models. The new Wilderness trim can go up to 3,500 pounds because it has a transmission cooler.
Moving on to your wheel options, you have various choices between 17 and 19-inch alloys. One of the nice things about this trim specifically is that it comes with the 19-inch alloy, but again, unlike the regular Sport, the Onyx Edition will take the bronze finish and change it to a full gloss black. Now, of course, you got that signature Subaru cladding for a tough look, and as we come up here to our mirrors, gloss black finish up top. Heating is standard on all but the base trim level, and we also get blind spot monitoring added to the Sport and above.
Now, at the side of the Forester, overall vehicle length is 183.3 inches. And let's talk about some design elements. Of course, you have symmetrical all-wheel drive branding here in this back pillar. We have blacked out window surrounds and roof rails up here at the top. If you like things spicy and want a two-tone roof, you do have to get the fully loaded Touring hybrid trim level, and then you can add that on. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, Subaru is going to include every single active safety feature as standard equipment on the Forester, so that's definitely a nice touch. And new for 2026, Emergency Lane Keep Assist is now going to have expanded availability. But there's also some new elements to talk about on the inside this year. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Moving on to the inside. First, here's our key fob. It's the typical Subaru key fob. You get smart entry on the premium and above. That means getting inside the vehicle, just reach behind the handle, that will unlock the door. Now let's check out the interior. I have to say you have some pretty premium touches with this Sport Onyx Edition, but before I get into individual details on the inside, we will start with the seats. So there's a wide variety of different seat designs you can get. Many of them have cloth at the beginning, then you have the StarTex faux leather in the middle, and then at the very upper end you can get a real leather. Here on this model you can see we've got a multi-tone StarTex finish. So you kind of have different shades of gray as well as a color contrast piping detail finished in brown with stitching. I think overall this looks pretty upscale. The seats themselves are power adjusting with two-way lumbar support on all but the very base model, and you would get memory seats, but you get a spring for the fully loaded touring trim level. Let's go ahead and climb inside. And closing up the door, we can look around at the rest of the cabin materials. Even though this trim kind of fits towards the middle of the trim structure, you still will find nice materials. You have a pretty durable feeling vinyl on the armrest with a stitching detail, a suede insert, and then more of that running through there. Soft touch plastic along the top and a little bit of piano black. As we move to the upper dashboard, this will be a soft touch plastic. We have a leatherette through the center with more of the brown stitching as well as a faux wood accent. And then as we move to the center section, a gloss black finish will finish us out with a little bit of leatherette that's padded along the side. Now let's fire it up with the push button start. All right, let's dive into some individual details. We'll start off with the gauge cluster. What we have on this model is the kind of traditional Subaru gauge cluster with the multi-function display. You can get a digital cluster, but you have to choose the hybrid model. And by the way, there is no available head-up display. Now as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the leatherette wrapped steering wheel. It's manual tilt and telescoping. Steering wheel heating begins at the limited trim level. But let's turn over here because this is really what I want to talk about as a highlight of the interior improvements for 2026. At first glance, nothing here is really unconventional looking per se, but all of this has actually been improved for 2026. Kind of each element along the way. So I'll start with the center console. First of all, Subaru says that they extended this to make it larger this year. And indeed, when we put it to the test with our donut test, it fits a dozen donuts inside. So that now passes our donut test, and I'm certainly happy to see that. Another benefit of this is the fact that the armrest extends further, about an inch further actually for 2026, which is good if you're a little bit shorter and holding onto the steering wheel. Now this center section here has also been revised. They've reoriented the cup holders to make them larger and include a little extra storage, and the shifter is going to be more compact this year to accommodate that. And then finally up here in the front, this is a much larger area here, and it has the wireless phone charging pad inside of it. So all in all, definitely a nice improvement to the packaging to make this a more useful space. Now again, the smaller shifter does operate the same. You just pull back for drive, bump over here to the left if you want to go through some simulated gear changes with the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. And then when we head into reverse, here is our standard backup camera. As you can see, we have active trajectory. You can get a 360 camera, but that's just on the fully loaded model. And then back behind that, you have your electronic parking brake, and you also have a brake hold system. Now moving on up into this area, the next place I want to talk about are the climate controls. This is your typical Subaru setup. It's a dual zone automatic setup. You have your temperature adjustment as physical buttons over here on the side, and then many of your other functions will digitally be down here at the bottom of the screen. Included within that will be your heated seat controls. Heated seats are standard on all but the base trim. Ventilated seats are on the top end touring trim. Now also a physical control above that is your volume knob. This Sport Onyx is actually the first trim level in the lineup, which gives you the 11-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. So let's go ahead and sample that right now. So we've said it before, I'll say it again, this sound system is really good for this class of vehicle, and I certainly appreciate that this trim level makes it available at this price point. It's very impressive overall. All right, let's zero in on the main display. We've got the 11.6-inch Subaru display. You've seen this on many of their models. It does have all the things you'd expect to see, including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Overall, it's a little bit reflective, and it does suffer from some of the little bit of performance glitches as all the other Subarus that we've tested out. But they do keep most of the functionality that you're frequently going to be accessing down there in shortcuts. Now up top, you'll see an auto dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes on most models. And also on most models, as in all but the base trim level, they continue to include this panoramic style sunroof. That's very impressive when many of the rivals charge extra even for a small sunroof.
All right, let's talk about the rear seats of the Forester. Now, when it comes to this, nothing's going to really change for 2026, which is not a bad thing because there's a lot of space and also quite a lot of features for the money back here. So we're looking at 39 inches of legroom, 39 inches of headroom. Actually, it's pretty close to 40 inches of headroom. Those are very good figures. It's actually better than something like the Toyota RAV4. Not quite as big as a Honda CR-V, but it is going to be definitely on the larger side. Now, this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9". For reference, and of course we brought along the official Car Confections ruler. The reason we do that is so we can get a realistic knee room figure, and behind his sitting position I have 9 inches of knee space. That's very good, and I'm 5'9" for reference. Now my feet can also slide up underneath of the seats. These seats I find to be quite comfortable back here in the rear, and as far as reclining, it does have that functionality. You just have to find this little strap on the side and it's going to recline a little bit. It's just not a lot of recline. Now, if we fold down the center armrest, we have 2 cup holders inside. And then taking a look at the center area, we have vents as well as 2 USB ports. These are the buttons where heated seats would be if you go for a touring trim level. Now, over on the door trim, it is going to be cheaper than in the front. So you have hard touch on the upper part, but the rest of the door is actually very nice with the suede material and the padded armrest. And then as far as storage, there's a decent amount of it in the door. Now walking up to the tailgate, this Onyx edition is actually the first trim to get the hands-free power tailgate, and let's go ahead and talk about the overall cargo capacity of this model, because that's once again an area that this vehicle does pretty good. So 27 cubic feet behind the second row, and as a maximum you can expect 69 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Those are, like I said, pretty solid numbers for the segment. It's very much on par with the all-new RAV4. Still a little bit less than the Hyundai Tucson as well as the Honda CR-V. And speaking of all those numerous rivals, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. It's a super competitive segment, and we've gone through each option in this segment and ranked them in individual categories like cargo space, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain, value, and you can sort the list based on which category is most important to you to really make an informed buying decision. So we definitely recommend checking that out if you're looking to buy. Now back to the Forester. As you can see, we have a 60-40 split folding rear seat. In order to fold it down, all you do is just grab this little strap right here, and that is going to fold it down. The fully loaded examples will give you toggles back here to fold the seats, but it's not on this trim. And let's get our cargo length, width and height figures. As far as cargo length, behind Drew's 5'8" seating position, 74 inches of it is what you can expect. From behind the second row, about 30 inches. The width is very good at 48 inches wide, so very wide. The height is also very good at 32 inches. And let's get our load-in height as well. Solid, 29 inches is your load-in height. Now underneath of the floor, there's a little bit of extra space. If you lift this up as well, you will find a spare tire. The Wilderness gets a special all-terrain spare tire. And I do want to point out, if you choose the hybrids, those will not have any spare tire at all. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Subaru Forester. In this test drive, we'll be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. But first we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Alright, that was taking us up to 60 miles an hour with this Forester. Like I mentioned at the spec dump originally, there's 2 different powertrains you can get with this. We have the standard option. It's the 2.5 liter boxer 4-cylinder. makes 180 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. Now, overall, this is not going to be a super quick vehicle. You probably could tell that from the acceleration. Compared to the competition, it's going to be on the lower side of things, but it is totally a usable amount of power that most people won't be bothered by.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And I was just going to say, of course, introducing the idea of the fact there is also a hybrid model available that has 194 horsepower. So if you're interested in a more powerful experience, that will probably be the way to go.
Yeah, not only more power, but also better efficiency. We'll talk about that in a little bit of time. But really the thing I think that's most different about the hybrid as compared to this gas is this is a little bit slow off the line. It takes a little bit to build. However, the hybrid model has that all-electric torque that really gets you off the line quickly. So yeah, just pros and cons on both of those powertrain choices, that's for sure. The hybrid is available on the vast majority of trim levels as well.
As far as the other element of the powertrain, we have a continuously variable transmission. Overall, this CVT is pretty responsive with the engine. It does have shift simulation as well to give you a little bit more of a traditional feel. That was just a partial throttle acceleration, and it still gives you the simulation, so you don't have to floor it to get it.
And in typical Subaru fashion, as expected, you have symmetrical all-wheel drive, and that is standard equipment across all of the trim levels for this model. All right, and let's get our sound level reading. 58.6 decibels is what we are sitting at as our sound level reading for this Forester. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to the competition. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings, where we post all of this vehicle's competitors as well as every vehicle segment. And compared to the competition, that is going to, place it on, not quite the quietest option. It's going to be pretty much middle of the pack or maybe a little bit on the upper end. But I do want to point out it's a little bit windy, and I could definitely hear some wind noise hitting for that sound level reading. Previous Foresters that we've tested out, such as the hybrid model, have been a little bit quieter at around 55 decibels.
Yeah, I think we're getting a crosswind just then. There's the auto start-stop system. It is reasonably smooth, but if you want to turn it off, you can do it inside the screen.
Yeah, I would probably recommend getting the hybrid if you're most concerned about saving money on gas. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about your fuel economy. So the gas model is rated at 25, 32, 28 miles per gallon combined. The Wilderness is 26, so that does penalize you a little bit. And then the hybrids come in at 35 miles per gallon. So overall, those are going to be pretty decent fuel economy figures. On the hybrid end, that's not as good as some of the rivals, such as the Toyota RAV4. And on the gas end, that's going to be pretty much in line with most of the other full gas options in the segment. And with the price of gas increasing, if you want to keep more cash in your pocket, we would recommend downloading the free Upside Cashback app. We routinely use Upside to earn 10, 20, and even 30 cents a gallon on gas in our area. We also use it for groceries and eating out, so we can earn more and spend less on things that don't matter to us. It's super convenient and easy to use, and as an added bonus, Upside is offering Car Confections viewers an extra 25 cents off per gallon of gas cash back on your first tank of gas. You can sign up using the QR code on the screen or by using the promo code CarConfections25 when you sign up. And now that we're just cruising down the road, I want to take a second to discuss ride quality for the Forester. This is an area that we've always been pretty impressed with this model. We've, driven it a lot of times. We've reviewed a lot of Foresters on this channel, and really that's not going to change for 2026. The ride does a great job of soaking up any of the larger imperfections in the road. The seats are really comfortable, and I also think that they've kind of baked in a little bit of athleticism with this model as well, which I appreciate as well.
Yeah, it handles better than you would expect, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and talk about today's Slam Dunk and Airball as well. I'm going to start off with the Slam Dunk, and that's going to be the 2026 update. I think this revised center area is a big benefit, and also I like the new trim. Specifically what we're spending time with today seems like a good value, and I really like the appearance as well.
Yeah, and the price decreases. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the pricing section, but that's an added bonus as well. Now, on the flip side, the Airball is going to be the technology. Yes, this is a pretty large screen, but it is definitely on the slower side, and especially as a lot of the rivals get new upgraded technology, this is starting to really stand out as being kind of basic and not very functional. So if you're a person that loves high tech, then you're probably not going to like this.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get the Outback's new screen into this soon.
All right, and let's talk pricing, because that's a pretty exciting element of this Forester review, because they have actually reduced the prices. That's very uncommon, honestly, to reduce the prices. You can see the full lineup of trims on the screen right now. The base models kind of sticking around the same price point, but most of the other trims in the gas side are reduced around $2,000 as compared to previous model years. So that's certainly a very nice benefit. The hybrids are going to be down a little bit as well, but just not as much as the gasoline options. I'm sure it's a supply and demand type of thing. This new trim level, the Sport Onyx, starts at $34,700 plus the $1,700. We also have a couple accessories on this, $1,450 destination. All told, we're sitting at $38,786 as tested today. So that's a pretty good price point for this new trim level. And if you're curious as to where this is assembled, it is assembled in Lafayette, Indiana, so not far away from here. Now, if you're looking to buy a Subaru Forester or any vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool if you plan on doing any dealership negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find all of that on our website, carconfections.com/newcarquotes. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale, reliability, and the warranty. First up, let's talk about resale value. After 5 years and 60,000 miles, Subaru as a brand is rated at 63.03% of estimated retained value, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 23.73%. Now, it's worth noting that is one of the very best resale values in the entire auto industry. It's only below Toyota and Honda.
We also have calculations for reliability with our combined reliability index. With the latest 2026 data, Subaru is rated above the overall industry average against all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and /reliability. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you have a 3-year 36,000 mile basic warranty, a 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain. Subaru does not do complimentary maintenance. And guys, that's all for our in-depth review of the 2026 Subaru Forester Sport Onyx Edition. If you enjoyed us covering this new trim level, as well as all the 2026 changes for this popular Subaru, we'd appreciate you subscribing down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and we have a lot of fun on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. And if you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.